Good afternoon, everyone. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and I have the honor today of the author Brian W. Smith in the house, and I would like for Brian to take over and give me an introduction of himself.
Okay. My name is Brian W. Smith. I am the author of 23 novels. I've been an author 14 years now. During that time, I've written 23 novels. I ghostwrite books for other people
Oh,
when I'm not writing my own. Um, I've owned a publishing company, Holly Grove Publishing, which I closed in 2010 during the recession. Um, I own a consulting firm called the Scribe Spot that helps
mhm.
authors do everything from write their books, manage their careers, help them get literary agents, a little bit of everything. When I'm not doing that, I am an adjunct professor. I teach creative writing at a couple of colleges here in Dallas. Um, I teach creative writing and other different classes at the college level. What else about me? I'm from New Orleans, live in Dallas,
Mhm.
Texas. Um, Married, two kids. My sons are grown, 25 and 20, and I'm a full time writer. When I am not when I am not teaching college classes or at home writing books, I'm usually on the road traveling across the country to literary events, meeting with book clubs, and appearing at festivals. That's me in a nutshell.
All righty. Okay, I would like to ask you a few questions. Have you ever been in the military?
Yes, I spent 10 years in the Army. Spent 10 years in the Army, really 9.5. I got out, I was sergeant. I used to be in military intelligence, so I was an investigator. Um, I did that for 9.5 years. Best time of my life.
Okay, what were you doing before you became an author?
I transitioned from the military as an investigator, and I moved into corporate America. Um, Many of my peers, what I did in the Army, I used to investigate espionage and terrorism and stuff like that. A lot of my friends moved into FBI, CIA, and all these different intelligence agencies, but I didn't want to do that. I was always an entrepreneur at heart. And to be honest with you, I knew I could make more money in the private sector. So I got out and I went into corporate security, and I became I became the director and vice president of departments like loss prevention, physical security, safety, things of
Mhm.
that nature. And that's what I did after I got out of the military. Um, I did that from '96 up until 2009 when I was laid off during the recession. And once I got laid off during the recession, um, when I got laid off during the recession, what they didn't know is that I owned a publishing company as well.
Mhm.
So I was doing the corporate thing by day, and I was running a publishing company, publishing books for myself and probably half dozen authors. Um, so when I got laid off and left the corporate world, I just ran my company and was a full time writer, and I just never went back to corporate America.
Okay, and we are friends on Facebook,
Yeah.
and so I see you doing a lot of things with your boys. Do you want to talk a little bit about fatherhood?
Oh yeah, that's my babies, man. They always my babies. They don't like when I call them that, but I don't care. My sons are 25 and 20. My oldest is in the army.
Mhm.
Brian, little Brian, and my baby Jordan. He's 20. He's in film school. He wants to be a film director and editor.
Mhm.
So I sent him off to film school. That's what he does. So yeah, I take the daddy thing very seriously, and they're my best friends. I mean, I know a lot of people, but I hang with my sons.
Okay, being that the baby boy is in film school,
Hmm.
and um, will y'all ever like collaborate? Since you write books and he does film, would y'all ever get together and do a collaboration of
That's
some sort?
Yeah, that's the plan. My consulting firm, the Scribe Spot, like we do everything from ghostwriting to editing, um, basically consulting. And when I say consulting, I mean helping authors manage their careers, putting together everything from marketing plans to just coaching them. You know, we also I help them try to get literary agents for those authors who want major book deals. Because what I didn't mention in my bio is that although I am I've owned a publishing company and I publish independently. I am, as we speak, I'm still signed to Simon & Schuster as well. So I have a major book deal as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Um, so I have been all around this game on both sides. I've owned a publishing house. I've been self-published. I've had a major book deal. So, um, along with ghostwriting, that's another thing that my company does, which is why I do so much ghostwriting work. You can hire my company, me. That part I keep to myself. A lot of stuff I have people on my team that do the editing and different things like that. But the ghostwriting I handle um, through my company, and it is the plan. Um, we just branched off into writing screenplays for my books and for other people. That's a service that's offered. And the plan is next year when he finishes film school and he gets more experience under his belt, through the Scribe Spot, we're going to also offer book trailers for authors. And my son Jordan will be the director and the editor.
Okay, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about your latest book.
My 23rd novel um, comes out December 17th, and it is called The Life and Times of Gigolo Number Nine. And the book is about a guy named Romeo Sublé in New Orleans who is, when he is 18 years old, his mother cleans houses for this rich white woman. And he goes over to bring some food to his mother, and the woman sees him for the first time. She's 70 years old, but she's a spry 70. She's 70 and looks 50. But anyway, she's an older woman, and she turns him out. So when he loses his virginity, he also becomes a gigolo because she starts paying him. And
Oh,
the story evolves where one of her friends is a madam, and the woman is a madam in New Orleans, and she has uh, she runs a quote unquote escort service. She's a madam, and basically he becomes Gigolo number nine, the ninth Gigolo on her staff. That's why it's called Gigolo number.
oh,
So while he is doing his Gigolo thing and living out his life and loving all the money he's making, and he's a young guy, he's in his early 20s, and having sex with these older women and getting paid to do it. He sees nothing wrong with it until one night he goes to bed with a woman, and when he wakes up the next morning, she's dead in the bed and he's covered in her blood.
oh, wow. Okay.
And that's all I can tell you.
Okay. What inspires you to write?
You know, I'm one of those authors who I get inspired by titles. I usually come up with the title first. When I decided to write about Gigolo number nine, I was at a red light, and I had just written a book that did extremely well called Threesome, that I co-authored with an author named Keith Thomas Walker. So the books is sold so well, I was like, okay, sex still sells. but I'm not really into like erotica.
Hmm.
I like books with steamy scenes, but not not my thing. Um, because I think sometimes authors get so busy trying to write steamy scenes that they forget that the book needs to have a plot and a theme, and it needs to be going somewhere. It can't just be sex on paper. So I really do try to stay away from the erotica genre, although there's always hot scenes in the books. I'm I write contemporary fiction. I'm not an erotica author. But but I like provocative titles. And after Threesome, I said, I wanna do something that's gonna be eye catching. And for some reason, the word gigolo popped in my mind. I was probably about 2 miles away from my house at a red light, and by the time I made it home, I had come up with the storyline and the title. Um,
Oh,
I, I want to, the life and time. I want to write about a gigolo. Um, um, and it's told in first person, so the gigolo is telling you his story. The gigolo is telling you his life, um, how he started, what happened to him, and how his life evolved, and it's being told from the perspective of the gigolo. So yeah, kind of how I do it. I just I come up with titles from the weirdest places. A few years back, I wrote a book. Um, I guess about 2008, no, 2009 or 2010, up in there somewhere. I wrote a book called "If These Trees Could Talk," and that book idea came from riding across. I was coming back from a book event, and I was in Mississippi, and I passed this cotton field, and I saw this tree in the middle of this cotton field in Mississippi. And I just remember thinking to myself, and I don't know how long that tree has been there, but I'm sure it's been there probably for centuries. Um, and I remember thinking, if that tree could talk, I bet it would have some stories to tell. Um, and that and just stuck with me. You know what? That's a cool title for a book. If this tree could talk. So I came up with this book idea called "If These Trees Could Talk," and then I wrapped the story. So that's kind of how I do it. I usually come up with titles first, and then I come up with the story.
yes, I read if those trees could talk this year. I read that and I loved it. I loved it.
Thank you. That's one of my most successful books.
Yes.
Very well. As a matter of fact, Jordan and I were talking about that book a couple of weeks ago. That the plan is to put that book into production and make a short film and take it to some film festivals.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Oh gosh.
so everything I do is calculated. I this company is going to be left to my sons anyway, so I might as well get them involved in the company. My son Ryan is an accomplished artist in the military. Military, he was an um. So we'll probably when he gets out, we'll probably it's my plan if he wants to that we're going to branch off into uh, illustration, everything from children's books, and he'll take care of that part to comic. Um, so there's a plan.
Okay. What has been your most accomplished goal?
Um, I've been blessed. I've written 23 novels. More than half of them made several bestsellers lists from Dallas Morning to Amazon, Target to Walmart. So I've been blessed to do the bestseller thing. Um, I've won a lot of awards. I'm at a point now in my career where I get invited to a lot of events to be a featured author. So I've accomplished a lot. But as far as what's my greatest, my my biggest accomplishment, to be honest with you, Queenie, it has been to be able to write full time and not have to go back to work.
Blessing. That's a blessing.
You know what I'm saying? When I left, I mean, when I left corporate America, I was at the time 2009, so that's 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 49 now, so I was 39 years old, making six figures. And when I got laid off, I just directed that same energy I was using to climb those people corporate ladder. I just poured all that energy into my own stuff, and I've been blessed that God has sustained me for the last decade. A lot of people, there are a lot of Black authors. Only a handful of us
Mm-hmm.
write full time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so I would say that that's my biggest accomplishment: being able to write and be successful enough that I don't have to go looking for a job.
Amen. Okay, next question. As a college professor, how
Mhm.
many of your students have actually read your work?
Um, Quite a few of them. I teach at night. So I teach at night. I don't teach during the day. I teach in the continuing education division. So that's for people who want to go to night school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my students are all working adults. They're not the average age of people in my class is probably 30 years old. All of these people have careers. So they have their own jobs and their own lives, but writing has always been something that they wanted to do. I've had everything from lawyers in my class to police detective. Lawyer by day, but want to write a book. Police detective by day, but wants to write a novel. I've had it all in my class. I know for a fact, because I'm Black and I'm the only, not the only. I teach at two colleges, and I
Mm-hmm.
am at both of those colleges. Is only although there's a staff of professors, adjunct professors. I'm usually one of only two, three at the most at both schools. So, and almost 90, probably 95% of students are white. So when they do their research on who's the professor teaching the class and my Black face up, I have walked into the class and seen people on their laptops looking at my bio on Simon and Schuster. You know what I'm saying? So I know that they are going to read my books, if for no reason, to make sure that I'm qualified to be teaching them.
Yes.
You know, I've had several of. I write a mystery series called the Sleepy Carter Mysteries. I've had quite a few of my students download 3 books and come to class next week. The whole series over the last week. So students, I can't say exactly how many, but I feel comfortable in saying probably 25% of my students have read my, not necessarily because they want to be a fan, but they want to make sure this Black man know what the hell he's talking about.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. I am in a reading group, and I was telling them that I'm interviewing a best-selling author, a
Uh-huh.
male, and they gave me 2 questions to ask, and one of the questions was, which of your books of yours would you bring to the bed with your wife, and which one would you keep away from her?
Which one would I keep away from her?
Which one would you bring to bed, and which one would you keep away from her?
Uh, which one would I bring to bed? I don't need no book to go to bed, but if I guess hell, ain't nothing in the book that I've written that I can't do. You know what I'm saying? So it had to come from somewhere. I don't need the book, but I guess if what they're asking is which book is the steamiest, which is the hottest. I would say it's a toss-up between Threesome and one of the very first books I ever published, which was called The SWAT.
The SWAT team. Yeah,
The SWAT.
the SWAT game. Yeah. Okay, and which one would you keep away from her?
Which one would I keep away from her? None of them, because I I write contemporary fiction, so
Yeah.
it's grown folk books about grown folk topics. It's not like I'm writing, street lit or something like that, where everything is drug dealers and thugging and people get shot up. I'm not really watching that. I'm not really writing that. So I wouldn't keep anything. There isn't anything that I've written that I would not let her if she wanted to.
Okay, and what books have your wife or your two sons have read and they have really enjoyed?
Both of my sons read my first book, Mama's Lies, Daddy's Pain. And that's mainly because I'm one of these men who after 17 years of raising a child before I got married, I found out through a DNA test that I wasn't her biological father. So, that shook me to my core.
Mm-hmm.
And she was living with me when I found out. So, I mean, that was their big sister. That was Brian Jordan's big sister, and that's how they viewed her.
Mm-hmm.
And she chose to, after everything came out, she chose to, leave our lives and sided with her mother, the person who told the lie. So I wrote a book because it was cathartic. The depression came from finding that out. But I wanted them to, because I thought it was important. Once they were 16, I told them that they could read. Because I thought it was important that they got an idea of why their big sister is no longer around. Because when it first went down, they were like, at the time, Brian was maybe 11. Yeah, about 11. And Jordan was about 5.
Okay.
So they didn't really know. They just know that all of a sudden their big sister is no longer around. And the book tells all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And they can also see in the book that her choice, not mine.
Okay. Okay, I have some fun favorites.
Okay.
Favorite cologne.
Red by Dunhill.
Favorite restaurant.
My favorite restaurant is a place called Drago's in New Orleans, where I'm from.
And what type of restaurant is that?
Seafood, Cajun, everything from jambalaya to gumbo to oysters, you name it.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite snack while writing.
Don't laugh at me, because everybody in this house laughs at me. But I like Lunchables.
Really?
You know those little Lunchable things?
Yeah.
Kids?
My 8-year-old eat those.
I know. That's why people talk about me. My refrigerator is stacked with Lunchables. Like I got a toddler walking around here, but I eat Lunchables. I like them. I like I'm the only person to eat them, but Yeah, you catch me at any hour of the night snacking on a Lunchable.
Okay.
That's crazy, I know. Grown man.
Um, do you prefer silence or music when writing?
I can do both. I'm usually sitting somewhere um, with headphones on while I write.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually concentrate and focus better with music on in my ear.
Okay, tell me your favorite book you have wrote so far and why.
Oh gosh, I hate when people ask me this. So, favorite book I've written. Let's see. That's like asking somebody to tell you which child they like
Yeah.
see. Um, now I I could go to safe route and say The Life and Times of Gigolo #9 since that's the book that's about to come out. I will say this. I do believe Gigolo #9 is my best written book because it's the most written book, and I think with I become a better writer. So
Hmm.
natural that the most recent book is the best written. The book that I enjoyed writing the most was probably a book I wrote in 2009 called Deadbeat.
Okay. Okay. What would be who would be your favorite character in one of your books and why?
It would be the character Quincy Deadbeat. In that book, um, the book is about a man, Quincy, who has a wife and 5-year-old child. And after his wife does to him that hurts him, he just loses it and leaves. He just walks away from his wife and his child. And um, the wife, when the child asked his mother, "Where's daddy?" she didn't want to tell the son that your daddy just left us. Told the son your daddy died in a car crash. That's why he's no longer here. So now she's a single mother raising this boy in the streets of New Orleans, and it's a rough town. So the streets are raising him too. So 10 years later, this 5-year-old boy is now 15, and he's a little thug, and he's running the streets and getting in trouble. And one day he's running with his partners, his friends, and they start beating the homeless man. And right as this kid Quincy is about to hit this homeless man, the man says, "Don't hit me, I'm your daddy." So Quincy's like, "No, my daddy's dead." And all of his friends are standing around saying, "You know this homeless man?" He's like, "No, I don't know this homeless man." He said, "I'm your daddy, I'm not dead. Your mama's name is Candace. They call you Cupid." And he's just rattling off all the details. But the kid knew he wasn't lying. And that's where the book takes off. And the book is about this man uh, trying to fix his mistake. He walked away from his family. He became a deadbeat daddy. But I wanted to explore whether or not you can come back from that. If you were deadbeat, can you come back and shake that title and do the right thing? And this while that's going on, this boy is rapid emotions. One hand hates his daddy from walking out of their lives, but he also is mad at his mom for lying to him, telling him that his dad was dead. So I book did extremely well.
I read that one this year also. Last two questions.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any events coming up in the next couple of months, like January, February, March, that you
Yeah,
would like to tell the readers?
yeah, but I will be in whew, I got a lot of events. I have the the I don't have actual locations. All I can tell you, or the dates. All I can tell you is the month and the city. Caught me off guard here with that. So in January, in March. In March, I'll be here in Dallas at a literary event. In May, I believe I'll be in Greensboro, North Carolina, at an event that's hosted by Soul Book Club. In July, later on in May, that same month, I'll be in Ohio. In August, I'll be at the National Book Club Conference in Atlanta. And I got some other books, I just don't have it. But yeah, pretty much between now and next summer, you can catch me on the road. Catch me in Dallas. I'll be in Houston as well. Dallas, Houston, North Carolina, Atlanta, and Cleveland.
Okay. So what's next for you? And what's next? What do you have planned next to do?
I don't know what my next. I am ghosting other books right now as we speak. So that's going to take up a lot of my time from now throughout the first half of next year. So I don't know if I'm gonna have time to write my own novels. The next novel I will probably drop will be probably somewhere around November, and I haven't decided what it's going to be. But The Life and Times number 9 next week, December 17th. You can get it on Amazon. You can go to my website, www.authorbrianwsmith.com to get autographed paperback copy. You go to Amazon, ebooks, and all that other stuff. So that's dropped on December 17th. And after that, I'll just be writing novels and memoirs for people. And for my next novel, sometime late next year.
All right. Well, I would like to say thank you for coming in today and letting me interview you.
No doubt.
And do you have any last parting words?
First of all, I want to thank you for supporting me and inviting me on your podcast and doing this interview with you. I realize the reason why I can do what I do is because of people like you, all the book clubs out there as well that support me, all the avid readers that buy my books, the pre-orders, look, all that stuff, the people who write reviews. You guys have no idea how much that stuff helps and how much I appreciate it. So all I want to say is to all those people who have supported me, thank you very much. I'm going to keep trying to crank out thought-provoking novels with a twist.
All right. Well, with that being said, I'm Queenie Clem, your literary ambassador. Have a nice evening. Good night.
Good night.